Hi, welcome to Best Friends. Thanks for joining us. I've been gone for a little while and I'm really glad to be back, and I'm really glad to have you back too. So it's been a summer so far. I think last month we had over 80 dog in a hot car calls, which to us mean that there is a dog in a car in distress because of the heat. Dogs can be in cars almost any time, any place, but the distress part is very important to us. Of those, I think at least 6 ended up in veterinary offices for heat-related injuries. A dog that is overheated to that extent suffers organ shutdown, and while it may not appear immediately, it will appear eventually and make them more susceptible to things that dogs normally just shake off. So please be careful. We know you love your pet or you wouldn't have them with you, but at the same time, that heat can be far more damaging to a dog than it would be to, well, it's not that good for people either, to be honest with you. And we've just had some really, really hot weather in Washington. I don't think it's over yet. I'm hoping it is, but I don't think it is because we're only partway through our summer. So keep that in mind, would you? We like to stay on friendly terms with people. We don't like for them to be mad at us, and having to break a window to get in a car and remove a dog or 2 or 3 is not likely to make us popular with folks. Okay, let's visit with some cats and rabbits. Maybe a ferret. We have a corn snake. It's a grumpy corn snake. And we have a little budgie. And mice. Anyone need mice? We've got mice. And rats. Very friendly hand-raised rats that are just exceptional rats, if you like rats. This is, as you can see, not a cat, but a rabbit. We have a number of different guys at the moment. We have a ferret, and I'm not sure that he's going to show well today because he got a lot of handling yesterday, and he's a little grumpy today. And the rabbit is, I think it is the first time, and you know, admittedly, I am not a rabbit expert, but we don't often see rabbits with blue eyes, and this one clearly is one. Very striking coloring and a very handsome little guy. He's only about a year old, and quite popular with the volunteers and the visitors to the shelter. So if you're looking for a house bunny, this might be a great choice, really. Lovely little guy. This is one of our success stories. She came to us about a month ago, very, very thin and with many, many fleas. And she had to stay in our treatment area for about a month, getting a little weight on her. But the upside of that is she's also been handled a lot. And she's discovered that instead of people being the enemy, they're really her friend. And she is a delightful, loving, snuggly little girl now. Meow. This incredibly handsome, short-haired, neutered guy is, I think, one of the most beautifully marked tabbies, classic tabbies, that I've seen in a while. His markings are so distinctive that it's just a pleasure to watch him move. And on top of the tabby markings, which is clearly classic, he has the agouti thing going on, so the tips of the hairs on his body are tipped in a lighter color. And he has an exceptionally long tail too. Very curious, very interested in everything that's going on. Now, this little guy was adopted from us and then brought back because he did not get along well with all the rest of the animals in the household. The kicker there is, I don't know what the rest of the animals in the household were in his particular case, and I don't know how the didn't get along actually manifested itself. So I'm not quite sure what was happening there. We try to give people the safest method for introducing a new pet into a household, and typically counsel them on what mixes usually work best. Doesn't mean they always will, but this is just an absolutely great kitty. My experience has been that when you see a cat pushed in a baby buggy dressed up in doll clothes, it's usually a brown tabby or a black and white. Don't know why. I wouldn't call them the lucky ones, but I would call the people who haven't adopted them lucky. What a sweetie. This is a little medium-haired tortie. We have quite a few torties today. It's funny how those color patterns kind of come and go. I think it's like chaos theory. We never know what's going to happen. She just noticed the camera, but she's more interested in her treats. I don't know. Balance is shifting here. Look how long her neck is. Anyway, an absolutely beautiful cat, very outgoing, kind of opinionated, to tell you the truth. I think she would adapt really well to a family. I don't think it would matter if you had younger kids in the family, as long as they're fairly gentle younger kids. I can tell you that she doesn't react real well to being restrained, but then again, not all cats do. Pretty girl. And yet, another tortie. You do know that all torties are females. Occasionally you'll see one with strong striping running through it that might be a male, but it's rare. That pattern is called a torbie for tortoiseshell and tabby. And now and then, I think I've seen one in like 30 years, but hey. Anyway, this little girl, beautiful tortoiseshell, is also a polydactyl, which means that her adorable little paws have extra toes. She's very cute. She's 3.5 months old. She is a kitten. She is going to have wonderful lynx tufted ears when she grows up. She already does. And a great medium length coat. Not long, but medium. Eventually the hair on her head will be shorter and the hair on her body a little longer, and her tail will be fluffy, but still the coat on her legs and her belly will be fairly short. What is that? Is that your tail? It is your tail. Oh my. She came in with a sibling who has already been adopted. Meow. Meow. Wow. That's Torty. And I think that she has these two beautiful, beautiful little ones. Jasper and Zoe. I don't know which one is which, but they're both female. So, don't know about that. I would nominate this one for Zoe. The flattened ears really don't have much to do with anything other than that she's feeling a little shy. Beautiful patch tabby. See that wonderful orange marking on her forehead? And it just kind of pops up here and there among the stripes. They have fantastic tufting in their ears. These are going to be gorgeous, gorgeous adult cats, but they sure make adorable kittens too. Goodness gracious. They've just come in to us, just come up front, and I'd be willing to bet these little ones will be adopted within the day. They are so pretty. And quite the personality too. This, if you're looking for two cats, this might be a good pair. Normally we don't really recommend two of the same sex, but in this case they seem to be kind of comfortable with each other. This kitty came to us because of a military deployment, and they, I guess, were in a hurry because they didn't leave us his name. But he is an absolutely beautiful neutered male. One thing we can tell you though is that he does not get along readily with either other cats or dogs. So he really needs to be the only cat in the household. Chances are good that once he is settled into his home, he might accept, say, a dog. For a cat to get along with another cat is really much more taxing for them than it is to get along with a different species. But I wouldn't make any promises. I think if you adopt this guy, you need to be aware that he's going to be the only pet in the household for as long as he is with you. He is absolutely beautiful, and he does love humans. It's just other animals that he has a tough time with. Surprise! We have another Torty. No, it really is not one of the ones you've seen before. This one is totally different. She is very snuggly. She just cherishes human attention. It would be great if she were in a household where she could be with somebody most of the day. You know, you always hear about cats being independent. Well, this cat is not. And she really likes her humans. She does not care, however, for cameras. I have my hand on her and I can feel her vibrating. She's purring. Just a pretty, pretty girl. Tortoiseshell coats are remarkable. I guess every cat's coat is unique if you get down to a fine level. But tortoiseshell's coats are just as individual as a fingerprint. They are, I've never seen two exactly the same ever. And they are very attractive. The dilute tortoiseshells are the gray with the cream and apricot markings, are not as dramatic as these guys, or girls, should I say, since they all are. They are always, they look like light is shining through the coat like autumn leaves or something. It's very attractive. Surprise! It's not a tortie. It's a silver tabby. Her name is Stella. She's beautiful. She's also very cuddly. This one is female. She has not been spayed yet, but you know that is included with our adoption. The cat prices are $65, and they include the spay or neuter surgery. Of course, they also include the feline leukemia testing, the first set of shots, which also includes rabies in our cats that are this age, or at least usually it does. The microchip, the license, worming, flea medication, and of course the cat. Hard time beating that. Yeah. Isn't she pretty? So before you go getting a cat from a rescue or from online, not that I would say anything about either of those venues, because the end result is the animal finds a home, and that's the important part. But this is a very good deal. It really is. She's deciding whether or not to make herself completely at home up here. I don't think she's particularly stressed by this event. Less so than most cats, anyway. Stick with us. We're going to go visit the dogs. I think we have 3. We've had awfully heavy adoptions lately. We're even importing some of our dogs from other humane societies or rescue groups that don't have as large a shelter as we do. And we're really happy to be able to afford those critters with more presentation time. So maybe you'll meet some today. This is Hugger. He came by that name honestly. He does give hugs. Actually, he gives hugs a little excessively, and he has some other rather interesting traits that compel us to say he absolutely has to have secure confinement. He is a lovely dog. He is brilliant, but he is brilliant in a doggy way, which means that it could be trouble for a human. He is perfectly capable of opening doors if he doesn't get what he wants. He will generally persist until he does. It isn't that he's aggressive at all. He's just persistent. And he is kind of big, so, you know, bear that in mind. May not be a really good choice if you have small children in the family, because I can definitely see Hugger knocking them to the ground and taking their crackers or whatever. But he is pretty, don't you think? Yes, he's a good boy, as long as things are going his way. And if they're not, he will rearrange things until they do go his way. Yes. See, if he were human, we would say he was assertive. As it is, whoever takes him is going to have a terrific training opportunity because he is, as I said, brilliant. You just have to figure out where his buttons are. Right? This is Pete. He has an absolutely beautiful dilute brindle pattern on him. It is just gorgeous. Silvery gray and kind of a pale tan, like a buff, and then the white markings. And he is, of course, a bully breed. And so we will require no other male dogs in the household, and definitely secure confinement. As you can see, he's a gentle boy. Has a lovely soft mouth, loves people, loves to go for walks. He's a volunteer favorite. And not nearly the wild man of a shepherd that we had before. He also is very responsive. What do you think? What do you think? And no matter how interested he is in the treat, he'll take it very gently. I think that there are enough people out there now that recognize the good points in a bully breed. They're terriers. And I guess if you have a terrier the size of a Yorkie, maybe you forgive them for the damage that they can do. But when they get to be the size of this guy, then you have to be a little more careful and not just trust them to have behaviors that could be damaging to themselves or others. So we don't do that. You know, if you want the dog to succeed, you arrange their world so that they can. Yes. Yes. We call him Pete. He would be okay with the name change, as long as it was accompanied by treats. This is Rex. Rex is called a chug, and that's because he's half pug and half Chihuahua. It's one of those designer names for a mutt. But he's cute, and he's really sweet. He has a very odd, I wouldn't call it a bark, but he makes a strange noise that sounds a little bit like a rather quiet air raid siren. So, bearing that in mind, you probably don't want this small dog in an apartment. However, he doesn't make it much at all as long as he is with you. Rex was brought to us because he snacked on the neighbor's chickens, which is not a good thing, although Rex thought it was quite good. And so it would be best if he were securely confined, because that's a hard thing to break a dog of. They're kind of self-rewarding. As much as I love chickens, I would have to admit they would make the perfect dog toy. And that's a sad thing, but dogs really are dogs. They're not people with 4 legs, and they have different motivations than humans do. So try and keep Rex away from chickens. It won't end well. Other than that, I think he's a terrific little dog. He's cuddly. Yes, he's cute. Yes. He is quite trainable. He's a bright little guy. And why would you ask for more? I mean, what's the point in rescuing a dog unless you put some effort in it? It's consumer dissonance, don't you know? If it's important to you, you will fix it. Yes. Remarkably, Rex is the last dog we have to show you today. But we have more, and you are welcome to come to the shelter and visit with them. We encourage you to do that, whether you're really planning to adopt one or not. The dogs enjoy visitors. And how do you know exactly what you're going to want to spend your life with if you haven't met a lot of dogs? That way you can make a educated decision. Our adoption includes the spay or neuter surgery, the first set of shots, usually including rabies, the first set of the worming and the microchip and the license, and flea treatment. All of that for mid-80s. That's pretty cool. It doesn't matter whether they're puppies or adults or big dogs or little dogs. All of our dogs are the same price. So stop by. We'd like to see you.